So, I guess talking about the battle brings us to the final big discussion point. So we have the Kaiser.
We have the Kaiser.
We have the Kaiser.
We do.
So that, it's proof that the 02 kids are coming back at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already knew that they were going to.
Yeah.
Because in the first movie, I mean, we had the intro scene where they're all falling back and Alphamon is like, ha 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 ha. And then we have the screen with all their names on it. And so we know that they're coming back. It's just, why is nobody realizing it? But it's kind of unceremonious the way that the Kaiser came back.
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I was nearly peeing myself when I saw him come on screen several times. Like, I was very excited. Very excited. And I still am very excited. But, I mean, that's, like, because we watched it twice in a row.
Yeah.
So, it's just, like, when he comes in, it's just, like...
Well, I guess I have mixed feelings about it, because on one hand, the whole thing with the dark spore in the second series, it was so unexplained and so vague, and that magical happy ending at the end where he's like, the dark spore is never gonna bother me again.
As long as you believe in yourself.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it just feels like that's a dark force that's lingering in Ken, and of course it's gonna, like, manifest itself again. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I don't like that they're just playing it as he becomes the Kaiser again.
Yeah,
like
which is why I'm still going to subscribe to the fact that that isn't actually Ken, and that it's not actually the Kaiser. And there's several reasons for that. One, they very drastically and unapologetically destroyed Imperial Digimon, and it also bothers me that the other kids just didn't care about that. But hopefully it was just like post fight jitters that like they might address that. That it's like we just killed like one of the most powerful Digimon that we as a team have, and that was no big deal. NBD guys, it's okay. And also he just, and I've heard excuses for this just because I know that everybody is still very weary about Toei taking over this. That like maybe a lot of this has been lazy, that like the reason why, like the other reason why I don't think that it's Ken is because he never, when he's the Kaiser, he never loses gracefully.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, even if he's like getting you into a trap and like you're defeating some of his guys, like he'll at least mock you in some way. And the fact that all we get all the time is just sneers and no talking or anything really makes me even wonder if he is Ken himself. So maybe I'm just trying to be optimistic, maybe like, maybe they're doing this on purpose, maybe it isn't just trying to rehash the story that we've already done, kind of stripping all of his character development out that we had seen before. So that's why I'm just like, maybe I'm just doing the trapdoor syndrome right now, where it's just like, oh, well, man, that's not really him.
Well, but you did have a theory about how that tied into Alphamon.
Yeah, but then that kind of fell apart. But,
well, not entirely.
But I'm still actually kind of on board a little bit with this. So, okay, so bear with me. So this is all speculation, and if it doesn't come true, then whatever, who cares? But so we have the Digimon that I am dubbing Gogglemon, And that's that weird like dragon sort of one that has the cloak and the goggles that appears just randomly. And then we have Meikomon, which in the first movie, because we watched it a couple nights ago just to rewatch it before we did this, and realized that Meikomon has always been super shady. So what? Well, how did I forget all about this? Where she's like running around in a cloak and appears in a couple of scenes with Gogglebon. So I wonder.
That's in the first. Yeah.
That's in the first movie. And so my thought is maybe Gogglebon and Meikomon are somehow connected, and it makes sense in that fight when they all go mega in the second movie, because Gogglebon is there, kind of ominously, like up in the corner at the end of that scene, and that's like what triggers the dark Digivice. It looks like,
yeah.
And I wonder if he can either control other Digimon in some way. Maybe he's like some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I feel like he might induce virus, like the infection.
Oh, okay.
So, because like he's always around in some regard. He was outside of the airport when all the Kawagamon attacked. He was outside when the Kawagamon first appeared, the one that first attached Taichi. And he was right in the midst of where Alphamon was when he came out. He was pretty much in almost every scene that the Kaiser showed up in the real world. And then he was there when he was inside of the digital world with the big battle. So I'm wondering if he also... It sounds like too powerful, which is why I don't really super like it. Because how can... But he might be able to do projections or something. Because if the Kaiser's not actually real... Because the Kaiser digitizes away at the end of the battle, too. And we don't ever see them do that. Though, okay, now I'm just... This is actually something that I'm just thinking about now, so maybe that's also wrong. But, so... It looks like there's 3 different worlds.
Yeah.
Almost. So we have the real world, we have the digital world, and then we have this in-between world where the Digi-Evolutions happen and where this battle was happening. The Digi-Evolution one happens on a white background, and then this battle happened in a black background. And whenever you see Alphamon and any of his lackeys, which is kind of what it made it look like in the first movie, they're always in like the black background. So I wonder if it's almost like Tamers, where they kind of had like that in-between world. And if one of them is just actually corrupted.
One of the worlds is corrupted?
Yeah, like the in-between like kind of world. So like maybe if the Kaiser is real, maybe he was just digitizing back into the digital world, because that must be where they're being held. So there's a lot of like there's a lot of speculation, but it's just really the fact that like I'm just not okay with how silent he was, and that was like part of what kind of made the Kaiser fun, was that he was just always... I mean, he was tortured, of course, but he was also just fun to watch because he was a little jerk, and it was great.